People waste their entire lives carrying invisible chains made of other people's opinions. They twist their bodies and bend their souls just to avoid criticism, rejection, or disapproval. And in doing so, they suffocate their own fire. Imagine being born with wings and never learning to fly because someone once told you your feathers look strange. That's what happens every single day when you allow judgment to weigh more than your own vision. The cruel truth is that the crowd you fear is usually too busy worrying about their own insecurities to truly care about yours. Yet you hand them the keys to your prison cell without question. Why? Because society has trained you to believe acceptance is survival, when in reality, obedience to opinion is the fastest route to regret. Every great dream has been strangled in silence by the whisper of what will they think? 1,000 books were never written. 1,000 songs never sung. 1,000 lives never lived fully, simply because the invisible jury of strangers held more power than the voice within. If you strip away the illusions, you'll realize no one remembers the coward who played safe, but the world can never forget the rebel who dared to look foolish. You can spend your whole existence polishing an image for approval, but the applause will die the moment you leave the room. What remains is whether you lived as an actor in someone else's play or as the author of your own destiny. The irony is brutal. The people you fear disappointing will not carry your coffin, nor will they write your eulogy. At the end of it all, you will be judged not by how many people clap for you, but by how fiercely you lived before the curtain closed. Think about it. Every single person who changed history was first ridiculed, mocked, dismissed. They were called insane, delusional, reckless. Yet centuries later, we call them geniuses. If they had bowed to the weight of opinion, the world would still be in darkness. The lesson is loud. To seek permission is to delay greatness until it dies of old age. When you stop caring what others think, you ignite a terrifying power. Terrifying to them, liberating to you. People will try to cage you not because you are wrong, but because your freedom reminds them of their chains. Your courage exposes their comfort, and their only defense is to convince you to shrink. If you fall for it, you both remain small. If you refuse, you force them to face the mirror. Understand this. Living authentically is not only your right, it is your responsibility. Because every step you take in defiance of opinion becomes a spark that can set another soul on fire. The truth no one tells you is that most opinions are recycled garbage. People parrot what they've heard, never questioning the origin of their judgments. They look at you through the lens of their own limitations and call it wisdom. They carry their failures like diseases and cough them onto you in the form of advice. And you swallow it, believing it to be truth. But it's poison, cleverly disguised as care. If you let it take root, you will live the same quiet, suffocated life they live. You must learn to ask, is this opinion born from courage or fear? If it's fear, discard it. If it's courage, let it sharpen you. That's how you build a life that belongs only to you. Imagine being on your deathbed, replaying your life. And instead of memories filled with risk and adventure, you see a dull film of compromises. You see all the times you dimmed your light to keep someone else comfortable. All the times you swallowed words that could have changed your fate. All the times you stayed silent to avoid judgment. The final regret will not be the mistakes you made, but the chances you never took because you were paralyzed by opinions. Death will whisper, you could have lived, but you chose to please. And there is no applause loud enough to drown out that silence. Society has engineered you to chase approval like a dog chasing cars, exhausted, desperate, and never satisfied. From childhood, you were rewarded for compliance and punished for defiance. Teachers praised you for coloring inside the lines. Parents smiled when you played it safe. Peers mocked you when you stood out. Slowly, the message carved itself into your mind. Fit in or be rejected. But here's the secret they never wanted you to uncover. Every masterpiece in history was created by someone who refused to fit in. To blend is to erase yourself. To stand out is to finally exist. Every time you ask yourself, what will they think of me? You are handing your destiny over to strangers who won't even remember your name in a decade. These people don't pay your bills. They don't bleed your blood. They don't live your dreams. Yet you crown them kings over your choices. How insane is it to surrender the steering wheel of your life to people who don't even know where they're going? When you strip it down, worrying about opinions is the most foolish addiction humanity suffers from. It gives you nothing in return except emptiness and chains. Stop for a second and realize that most people don't think about you at all. You're not in their daily script. You're a passing thought, a shadow. And yet you design your wardrobe, your words, your walk, your entire being around their fleeting judgments. That's like rearranging your house every time a stranger drives by. You sacrifice years of peace for seconds of approval. You trade the eternal for the temporary. That's not just tragic, it's insanity. If you could see how little people actually think about you, you'd laugh at how much power you've given them. The moment you stop caring, you become dangerous. Dangerous not because you harm others, but because you are no longer a puppet on their strings. A free mind cannot be controlled, and that terrifies the masses. You will notice resistance. People will try to shame you back into the cage using words like selfish, weird, arrogant. But these are only alarms ringing to warn them that someone has broken free. Let them ring. Let them panic. Because every insult they throw is proof that you are touching a nerve they never dared to touch in themselves. Understand this. The world does not belong to the silent, the obedient, or the timid. It belongs to those who are willing to be misunderstood, mocked, and doubted. It's born from rebellion, not compliance. Every law of nature we rely on today was once called madness. Every invention we worship was once called impossible. Every truth we accept was once considered heresy. If you care about opinions, you will never reach the stage where history bows to you. You will die a copy in a world that desperately needs originals. People love to say, don't rock the boat, but they forget the boat was never meant to be your home. The ocean is endless, and your destiny is out there beyond the horizon. To stay in the boat for the sake of comfort is to drown in stillness. Rock it, tip it, swim if you must, but move. The waves of judgment are nothing compared to the storm of regret that waits if you never set sail. You are not here to sit safely in a floating coffin. You are here to carve waves into oceans no one has dared to cross. It's easy to say, be yourself, but the cost of authenticity is higher than most are willing to pay. To live without caring means you will lose people. You will disappoint family. You will anger friends. You will confuse strangers. And that's exactly how it should be. Because if everyone approves of you, it means you never stood for anything. Approval is proof of conformity. Rejection is proof of courage. You must learn to wear disapproval like armor, not chains. Only then will you taste the kind of freedom most people never know exists. Your life is not a democracy. It is a kingdom, and you are the ruler. Every time you let someone's opinion decide for you, you are handing over the crown. But the throne was carved for you alone, not for the masses. The world doesn't need another shadow. It needs your fire. So burn. Burn so brightly that the timid can no longer ignore their own darkness. Burn so fiercely that your name becomes a warning to those who try to silence you. Burn so fully that when death comes, it finds nothing left to take. The tragedy of human existence is that we are more afraid of being disliked than of being forgotten. But what is worse, to be hated for who you are, or to vanish into nothing because you were never brave enough to live. You can play safe, avoid judgment, and disappear quietly, or you can risk mockery and carve your name into eternity. History remembers the ones who dared. And if you want to be remembered, if you want your life to mean something, then you must stop caring right now, because caring is the slowest suicide a human can commit.